Picture this. I'm living in Hawaii, beach right outside my front door, solid job, good friends, 85 and sunny every single day. By every measure that I set for myself even, I had made it. And I woke up every morning feeling absolutely nothing. Just numb. I was going through the motions. Like I was checking every box. I was hitting every milestone I had to hit. And I was still carrying this just quiet, heavy emptiness in my chest that I couldn't explain. I definitely couldn't justify it to anyone, including myself. I was afraid to say it out loud because everything looked great from the outside, right? So that's what I now call being a high functioning hollow. You look successful. You are successful by most measures. Most people, like from the outside, things look great. So people think you're successful. I mean, maybe you are successful, right? But it doesn't mean everything's rosy because something underneath is completely switched off. And because you can't point to a real reason, you don't talk about it. So you walk around numb, just going through the motions, something missing, a hole. I've been there twice. I've hit basically rock bottom or close to twice. I've rebuilt twice. And I'm now a mindset and NLP certified coach because of what I went through and the rebuild. And that's when I realized that just because things look honky-dory from the outside, they look great, your life looks great, doesn't mean that it is, right? It definitely hasn't been that way for me multiple times. I mean, you have no further to look than I was living in freaking paradise in Hawaii, and I was miserable deep down almost the whole damn time. Couldn't talk about it. So maybe you're struggling with something deeper than people can see. Maybe you're struggling with something and you don't know what it is. You can't even see it, but you know it's there. Maybe something happened, a trigger moment like they did with me, and now it's brought to the surface. Now you've got to feel it. Now you got to have these feelings, right? Can no longer hide them away. Can no longer shove them down. So it's time to face it. Either way, these 7 habits are for you. They're built for where you're at. They're easy. They actually move the needle. All right. They're practical. They're easy to incorporate. I named the trigger up front so you know, and they're backed by real science. And before I get into it, they stand alone, but they also work together. If you're like me and you've been carrying something around, but keeping it buried, your life looks successful from the outside, you maybe don't know what to say or think you can say anything, I have a bonus for you at the end. So let's get into it. Habit 1, name what you're actually feeling. Effect label. So the trigger here is the moment that you catch yourself on autopilot. You're zoning out mid-conversation. You're staring at your screen. You're staring at your screen without actually seeing. Or just feeling flat again and can't explain why. That's your cue. So habit 1, again, is name what you're feeling or effect labeling. And it just means putting one specific word on whatever you're feeling right now. Not fine, not a bit stressed. One honest word. How you're really feeling deep down. Numb, resentful, scared, bored, anxious as hell, right? That level of specific. So it means something to you. Honestly, UCLA research, they found that naming your emotion reduces amygdala activation by roughly 20 to 30%. So your brain physically calms down when you label what's happening because it shifts the processing from the reactive part of your brain to the thinking part of your brain. Makes sense, right? So you go from being swept along to having just enough distance to respond instead of react. And that's important in everyday life anyway. So when that flatness hits, stop, say one word out loud or write it down. That's the whole habit. One word, 1 or 2 seconds, one honest answer. Once you know what you're actually feeling, the next habit can give you somewhere to put it. The trigger moment for this is just the moment you sit down at your desk or the second that you notice like tension creeping in. This is just one 90-second body scan, right? You start from your head, move down to your feet, hit every part on the way down, your jaw. A lot of times like where you hold tension, your jaw, your shoulders, your chest, the feeling right here, right? Your stomach, your hips. You want to make sure that you're hitting those, but hit every place on the way down and just feel, close your eyes, take a deep breath and go. All right. You're not fixing anything here. You're just noticing. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders up and tight? Is there something heavy sitting in your chest? In Hawaii, I was clenching my jaw every single morning before I even opened my laptop. Months went by before I noticed, probably. I was doing it in my sleep. My jaw was so damn sore once I noticed. Um, the signal was there the whole time. My body was screaming what my brain refused to hear. Emotions, they show up in the body before the brain catches them. Sometimes your brain doesn't even catch them. So by the time you're consciously aware of how you're feeling, it's already been building up for a while. Take that one to heart. Because if you're aware of it now, your body's been feeling that for a while. So I set a phone alarm twice a day, labeled it check in, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, 90 seconds each time. That was it. It helped a lot. Early detection means earlier, gentler regulation before it snowballs into something harder to manage and something bigger, and then you hit a breaking point, possibly. Scanning finds that signal. So the next habit, it interrupts the loop before it can take over. So habit 3 is the pattern interrupt. One opposite action. I love this one. This one is huge. So the trigger here is the urge to stay in bed, cancel plans, avoid the email, scroll instead of start anything, your day. That pull towards avoidance is your huge cue. Man, this one was probably what pushed me over the top. And both many times, I'll just put it that way. Both times that I almost hit rock bottom. Any other time anything started to go bad, I would start scrolling and then comparing. That shit is bad, guys. So we kind of call this one opposite action. All right. The key is that you're not doing the whole task. You're doing one tiny move that goes against the emotion driven urge to scroll or to avoid whatever that urge is. You're just breaking that habit. So you open the document, you open the email and just read it and hit the reply button and start to type the reply. You send the text, you stand up and open the blinds, just take the shower and get ready for your day. Whatever that is, do the opposite move. In Thailand, my business was collapsing. COVID was starting. I couldn't move. Not because I didn't know what to do necessarily, but because I was terrified of what people would think if I asked for help or I said, I'm scared because I'm the one that chose to move there. I'm the one that chose to start a small business while moving there. And yeah, it's a scary thing. One email and then a call. That's all it took. And it finally cracked something open for me. Avoidance, it digs the rut that you're in way deeper because it teaches your brain the thing you're avoiding is dangerous. One small opposite action starts reversing that. So that one action, it can build momentum, can start things going in the right direction. But momentum without that right direction can burn out fast. And that's exactly what the next habit solves. So we're going to talk about subtraction before addition. It's decision detox. Again, super important. Again, can stand on its own. And again, works really well with what we've already been discussing if you group. So the trigger here is that your to-do list feels impossible. In your brain, it's just gone foggy. You're staring at everything that you have to do, can't start any of it. Hustle culture tells you to add more systems, more goals, more output, more hours, less sleep. But your brain has a daily decision budget, you guys. I can't stress that enough. Hustle culture, we have to stop. Your brain has a decision budget, and every item on that list costs you something. Research on decision fatigue, this is very real. It tracked this inside a real bank where cognitive depletion cost them over $500,000 in a single month from degraded loan decisions. Your mental energy works the same exact way. Each morning, cross 3 things off your list before you add anything new. Ask yourself, so you have this big to-do list, ask yourself, what can I drop, delegate maybe, or defer today? Rest isn't laziness. It's the strategy that people who burned out hardest never used. The entrepreneurs who crashed, were the ones who only knew how to add. Clearing the noise, clearing some of that stuff, it makes room for what actually moves the needle, what actually matters for where you need to go, including how your brain filters what it notices next, which is habit 5. So this is how to program your brain's GPS, right? Your reticular activating system priming, really, RAS, reticular activating system, FYI. So the trigger here is the moment you wake up, before you check your phone, all right? Your brain has a filtering system called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It decides out of millions of inputs hitting you every second of every day, every moment, and that's not a lie, millions of inputs, sensory inputs that are hitting you all the time. Your brain has to filter that, man. It's too much, right? So what it has to filter what actually reaches your conscious awareness. Crazy, right? Your subconscious is taking all that shit in, but it has to filter what reaches your conscious brain. So, and you can actually tune it deliberately to an extent by telling it what to look for. Whatever it is that you focus on first thing in the morning primes that filter for the rest of your day. So if you wake up and you immediately scroll bad news or run through everything that's wrong, your filter will spend all day looking for more of the same. And I'm telling you, I have friends who do this. I had a girlfriend who did this, and it literally was like the opposite of gratitude. You know, when you do a gratitude journal and you start to see all the positive things of the day. Well, she would wake up and focus on the bad news for the day. Start scrolling news. Get up and CNN was on. And they, news. If it bleeds, it leads, right? They're just talking about bad stuff. She was a great person, is a great person. But she just focused on negative all day long. I mean, it was crazy. This is very important. So getting back to it, if you set a direction, it looks for that direction instead. That's why I try to do a gratitude journal right away in the morning. I need the positivity, man. I know there's bad stuff going on all the time, right? Now, probably more than ever, but there's also good out there. And you can see it if you dig through the bad a little bit. So one sentence, even. You don't have to do the whole I just write down 3 things in my gratitude journal or review the ones I wrote down last night. But one sentence written or spoken aloud is enough. Today, I'm looking for a moment that feels alive. Specific, sensory, right? Feels alive, and it's present tense. So think of it like updating the destination of your GPS before you drive. Good comparison, yeah? That's why we call it the GPS, your RAS. So your brain, it can't navigate towards something if you haven't told it where you're going. So now your filter's primed, but fear of what other people think is still running that filter underneath. The next habit is one you cannot skip. So habit 6, and I love this one, is a 60-second fear audit. It's a people-pleasing pattern interrupt. So the trigger, any moment that you say yes, your gut is still saying no, or you pull back from something you actually want. In Thailand, man, I had clients. I was starting to build my business. I had momentum even, a real business with real potential. And I kept the ceiling low because I was scared of being judged. What if I went bigger and people decided I wasn't good enough? What if people were questioning what I was doing? What if I went bigger and I lost a big client, right? I was scared of being judged. So I played small. I let limiting beliefs quietly make every decision for me. I did just enough to get by. And I told myself it was fine. It was great. The business didn't fail because of COVID alone, man. It failed because I was too afraid to find out how big it could get. The funny part there is that I played small because of my fear of what other people thought. And that playing small is part of what led to the demise of my business. Funny how that works, right? So the audit here is one question. Am I doing this because I want to? Or am I doing this because I'm afraid of what other people will think, of what someone else specific will? That's it. And I want you to be honest with yourself when you ask that, right? When you say yes chronically out of fear, you stop knowing what you actually want because you've been outsourcing the decisions to other people's opinions for so damn long that your own voice gets quiet. And this becomes a habit. This becomes a pattern. This becomes something you do for years if you don't catch it and stop it. So my ask here is that before any significant yes or no today, ask the question. Write the honest answer. All right. Even if you're not ready to act on it yet, that's fine. Because once you stop outsourcing your decisions, you start actually hearing yourself again and listening to yourself. And that leads directly to what I want to talk about next. So I want to talk about the bonus one that I threw in here because I think a lot of people are hit with this. I know it has hit me multiple times in life, well, many times in life. Recently again, it's again the high functioning hollow, the secret tax that we maybe pay, I guess for lack of a better word. Nobody really talks about this part, all right? When your life looks good on paper, you don't feel like you're allowed to be miserable. You think, what do I have to complain about? And the question alone keeps you stuck because it makes the whole thing seem fake. Makes the whole feeling that you have like this isn't real. Like you're just being dramatic. So you carry it quietly. You carry it alone. And that silence, that's the tax. That's the thing that ate me up. Every single day that you spend performing okayness while feeling hollow inside, numb, just going through the motions, costs you energy, it costs you focus, it costs you aliveness. And hey, I got something to tell you guys, man. We're only here for a little bit. We got to make the most of this. Can't carry the shit around in silence. So you carry it though, invisibly, silently, in the background. Every time it comes up, you push it down. So I call it the secret tax because it compounds. Hawaii, again, was a paradise on paper. Thailand was a paradise on paper. It took coaching, took real tools, took some brutally honest conversations to see that the breakup in Hawaii was not the problem. I was. Specifically, the gap between who I looked like on the outside and who I was actually underneath. I'd been carrying this for a long time. I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know. I was scared to say anything. So how was I ever going to figure it out if I couldn't even be honest with myself that it was a problem? And it was a feeling that was worth telling to people. You don't have to keep this stuff inside. Who cares if your life looks good on paper? If something's inside you bothering you, it's time to come clean, man, with yourself first and then with other people, because it's okay. That gap was the cage for me. That gap is the cage. All right. And you don't escape it by doing more. You escape it by finding what actually matters to you again. Why you're having this feeling on the inside, because something's missing and you deserve to find out what. So write one sentence right now. The last time I felt genuinely alive was blank. That's your compass. That's how you start. All right. In conclusion, I know I just touched on a lot of habits there. I do have videos that go into most of them. I'll try to link them in the show notes that go into most of them in depth, singularly. But I wanted to do kind of an overview of these because they work together really well. I'm going to have more touching on all of them. So go check those out next. And hey, man, hit subscribe. If you liked what you saw, if this is helping you in any way, throw a comment out there because I'll be coming at you weekly with more great content. I'm dreaming up more content all the time. Stuff I've been through, stuff my friends have been through, stuff I'm learning as I'm going through more and more training. So, man, I want to help you all. I want to help you all not feel how I was feeling. And we all deserve that.